week, a lot of stuff that happened in the world of Star Wars. But first, I want to introduce my Star Wars crew. First, we got our bounty hunter, the Paradox Nerd. What's happening, bro?
No one will stand in our way.
I know that's right. And fresh back from the Choice Fine Arts show in San Fran, we got our man Jedi Chris. What's happening, Jedi Chris?
I am here. I'm alive. I'm well. I'm tired, but good spirits. Woohoo! Hello, everyone.
So tell us about the show, man. How was it? We saw those nice Star Wars pieces that they had out there.
Oh man, it was mind blowing. I mean, Choice Fine Arts, all the guys there were absolutely amazing. And I got to meet some of the artists that do a lot of Star Wars pieces, like Christopher Clark. He is Lucasfilm, #1 Star Wars artist. Great guy, approachable, and he's a good dancer too. Just so you guys know that. So the guy is just an artist, to the soul. And of course, Rob Kaz, outstanding guy. I actually bought one of his pieces. He personalized the back of it for me, so I'm looking forward to getting that in the mail. We had James Mullion, also you can call him Jim. Got to actually videotape him doing some sketch stuff. He just randomly sees things and he starts drawing it. It's out. It was really cool to see that. And also James Coleman. I mean, we're talking like this legend. This guy was super amazing, and the fact he cleared his schedule to come out and hang out with other artists and a lot of the collectors and fans. And he was very interested about the collectorverse and all that. So I think he definitely got an earful of what we do, and he was really impressed with that. So all in all, good experience. I could talk more about it later, but yeah, all good.
That's what's up. Paradox, how's your week been going, brother? Anything happening to pick up anything, or what's been going on?
Nothing, man. Everything's been pretty good. To be honest, I haven't picked up anything. There's quite a few Star Wars stuff that I was like kind of interested in picking up, but I think we're gonna talk about it in pretty soon. So besides that, really, I just picked up the audiobook of The Last Jedi.
Yes.
So
study it, you must.
Yes, and we'll dive right into that, a little bit later in the future. But so far, it's a lot more detailed, obviously, than the movie. But I'll just flat out say it. There's one part of the book which is almost a chapter long, and it has to do with Rose. So annoying as she is in the movie, she's still annoying in the book. So
somebody put up. I posted in the group. Somebody put a picture of Rose up from the Academy Awards, man, and she was smoking. I was like, "That's Rose, good God!"
Why could she dress like that in the movie? Right? She'd be less annoying.
But everybody they still like her sister better, but still,
Yeah, I do like her sister better.
But before we move on, we had a special landmark this week. Our man Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So we want to put a big congratulations out there for you, sir. And light them savers up. There you go. Yeah. Congratulations.
Congratulations, man. Well deserved. Yeah, Mark Hamill, if you ever watch his show, man, congratulations, man. It's well deserved. It should have had this a long time ago, but finally, man, really well deserved.
Better late than never. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Just a quick thing, guys. I don't know if you noticed in the whole ceremony, Harrison Ford was there, which is really nice. George Lucas was there. I think Carrie Fisher's daughter was there. Rose was there. But basically, one of the main people that was missing, because I was kind of surprised, is Kathleen Kennedy. I mean, she was missing the whole shebang. So, wonder if that has to do with anything.
The writing is on the wall, my friend. We'll get to that in a couple topics, but writing is on the wall with that stuff. So
yeah, definling. But congratulations, Mark.
Congratulations,
well deserved it, man.
That's what's up, man. It should happen long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. Yep.
So let's get on our first topic. We had a statue reveal this week, a surprise statue reveal nobody was expecting. So this is Sideshow's 1/6 scale Jabba the Hutt that they are releasing. It's up for pre-order right now. It goes retail about $700 and comes with some switch outs, which the last one did not. And I'm really curious. I need to do a little bit more research on this because I don't know what it's made out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The last one was vinyl, and you had to buy him and the throne separate. This one, they all come together. Plus, it comes with Salacious Crumb and everything. It comes with pillows and, you know, but you probably going to model it with your Hot Toys because it's 1/6 scale. I personally would love to see a 1/4 scale, even though it'd probably be gigantic. But yeah, so what you guys think about this one?
Yeah, I was actually really surprised when they announced it. Actually, to be honest, I missed the first 15 minutes of Sideshow Live and when they announced the whole thing, but I finally was able to catch up and watch it again. But it looks amazing, man. It really does. And I've been wanting. I do have the Hot Toys Boba Fett, and you know, gonna probably get some the Hot Toys Luke Skywalker. It's an amazing piece, man, to kind of display it with your other 1/6 scale figures. I love the switch out heads. I mean, I love the fact that you got him sleeping, you got him like I'm just wondering how come they don't have him being choked out. That's one thing I was kind of like but yeah, but it's pretty cool, man. Like it's amazing, and I applaud Sideshow for actually releasing this detailed 1/6 scale Jabba the Hutt, man. I don't know. I'm still debating. If I should pick it up. I mean, it's going to be an epic piece and part of my collection, so we'll see. What do you think, Chris?
Well, yeah, honestly, yeah, the detail, the facial expressions. I mean, I just the character it pops out. I mean, and you being the you know the nationally known bounty hunter, you got to have the pit boss, man. I mean,
no question.
You got to have him, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at where I got my statue now. I'm like, there's no space for that. So I'm gonna have to figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
Actually, you know, and I just want to just mention real quick is that I was actually really surprised that they do have like all these switcher arms and heads, because usually, you know, something like this usually would just be having just one pose and you just kind of like display him like that. But I really love the fact that the detail on the different head sculpts, the detail on the pillows, just overall, man, it's definitely, yeah, man. I hate to say it, you know, I'll probably be broke after, you know, picking this up, but yeah, it's definitely worth a pickup.
I can tell you this, that I had the other one, and this one is a lot more detailed. This is a lot better, you know, not to mention just the switch outs. But the thing that always gets me about it, like when I had the other one, the back of his head just always made my skin crawl. It's like this big, just gob kind of hanging. Oh God, it was gross. But, but it's just the throne looks, you know, they both look about the same. You know, got a lot of detail. It's got the switch to the Rancor pit on there. This one, I'm hoping the pipe is better, because the last one, the bottom part that held the frogs or whatever it was he was eating, it was held on by like this plastic cup, and you had to like fit it inside the little whatever his little pipe thing was in there. But this one, I hope maybe they use magnets or something. You know what I mean? But I mean, it looks great. You know, for the switch outs, his eyes look a lot better. On the last one, the eyes were like painted. This one looked like they molded some eyes and put it in his body. You know, but it looks great. You know, I wouldn't mind having it. You know, because I'm definitely glad I sold the last one now. So,
how about a Princess Leia Hot Toys, man? Like a slave Leia.
That's that's another problem. I don't collect Hot Toys, so it's like I don't. You know, I wouldn't. It won't be cool unless you have C3PO, Bib Tuna. Who else? You know, little Jaw. They even got the little Jaw that was fanning them and everything.
The Twi'lek, the dancer. What's her name?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know.
She got eaten the first 20 minutes. So you know.
Chris, what's her name? Do you know? Or
her name Ula?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was like OOLA, Ula. The
Oh, Ula, or like something. Yeah, I think you're right.
Lunch.
Yeah.
That was her name. Was Lunch. Because
Lunch.
yeah, she got eaten by the Rancor.
Oh,
So that
nice. I was like lunch. Okay.
yeah, Lunch.
Yeah,
But
that's true, man.
yeah, it looks great. And the thing about this is, they had like environment, like scenes the Sideshow made for the old Jabba. So you might be able to if you got those, you could probably still use those with this, because they had like the arch with the stairway that when you entered into his chamber. They had that. They've got the Han and the carbonite to put on the wall and everything. So I mean, if you got the space, because that's going to take up a lot of real estate to have all that stuff, but you got the space, man. That would be a stunning setup, But fortunately, again, I don't collect hot toys, so. But
that would be play, man. I think that would rank right up there with like the Emperor and having a couple of the Imperial Guards flanking him, or Snoke that with his Praetorian group, with all the different weapons of death. I think that would be another one to go with that. So
yeah.
Dang. Exciting times, gentlemen. Exciting times.
Yeah. I was just surprised they did that, but yeah, great job, Sideshow. Really amazing job.
We need a Lando Calrissian Sideshow. Just saying.
Wait, they don't have one? What really? Sideshow. Lando.
Yeah, I don't think Sideshow or even Hot Toys have the Lando. They really need to. Yeah,
they need to put the Sith Happens crew on the creative team for the Star Wars division, so we can get that moving. You see, but I mean, it looks great. Look at his head. Oh my God, the back of the head is so gross. See, look at that. Look at that. That is disgusting, man. Oh my God.
What is that? Like, that's like doo-doo.
Oh God. When you see it live, it's even worse. But I mean, it looks great, really does. Yeah. So, all right, moving on. So Disney apparently has commissioned Jon Favreau to do the Star Wars TV series. And I got a few thoughts about this, but JC, what do you think about this move?
I think that's going to be amazing. I know before Lucasfilm was purchased by Disney, they were talking about a live action series. Now I know they were tinkering with the idea of having it take place between episode 3 and episode 4, but more of not main characters, more of the day in the life of like a pilot, or day in the life of a rebel, pilot or soldier, or the average person. And it seemed like it was pretty appealing. And you would see the propaganda. You might see a HoloNet news with like the Emperor talking or Darth Vader, but again, that was all just internet chatter, and that was several years ago. So I'm curious where they're going to go with this one. I am absolutely excited. I mean, it could be at any part of the chronological part of Star Wars, and Jedi Chris will be watching along with his Padawan. So yeah,
sounds a lot like Rebels, what you just described, but we'll find out.
But I mean, they can go at any angle, any direction. I mean, it could be stuff happening on the other side of the galaxy, and it just kind of parallels with the timeline too. I mean, so really it's an open canvas, guys. I think it's going to be amazing, regardless of what angle they want to go with this. So I will keep reading the internet, trying to figure out what kind of secret data I can extract from that. So yeah, what do you guys think?
It's a really, really awesome move that they actually hired Jon Favreau to helm a new TV show. Let's rewind back. I'm a big fan of Jon Favreau ever since he first did Swingers, one of my favorite movies of all time. And fast forwarding many years later, where he was hired to do Iron Man, we do forget that he was the fire that just kind of lit up like the MCU.
That's exactly where I was going. Yep.
Like he started the MCU with Iron Man and having the end credit scenes with Nick Fury, and how excited were we like when we saw that, and just knowing the fact that things were starting to kind of like be this huge like Marvel universe that we all dreamed about as kids. Now to hire him to helm a Star Wars TV show, like what, you know, piggybacking off what Jedi Chris said before, it's an open canvas, and to have him, and you know, we all know he's a huge fan of the franchise, that to try to take that TV show and incorporate to the Star Wars universe, I'm really excited. I can't wait to see what he has plans for a live TV show. How exciting is that? And I believe it's going to be on their Disney streaming service, which would be, I think, next year or something like that. So we're going to get that TV show really soon. I'm curious to see where in the timeline it's going to be. I'm hoping that it's in between like Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, to kind of like explore those 30 years. Is it 30 years? Right. 30 years. Yeah, 30 years in between those movies, and see what happened between that, like, you know, with the fighting. I know we dove that, you know, they dove into it a little bit with the Battlefront, but a little bit more. So I don't know. What do you think, Thor?
Yeah, you stole some of my thunder a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, you good. But I just hit it from another direction. You know, yeah, it's funny that now that things aren't going so well with the movies, that they have gone back to people that have laid the foundation for where they've had success. I'm talking about Disney. So they go to Favreau. Favreau started Iron Man, and you know, and that built success, and then was basically the foundation for the MCU. So now Star Wars is having a little trouble, so they go back to Favreau, and they want him to do the TV show. So very interested. And then now I'm hearing that Rian Johnson might not be doing this trilogy that they promised him or whatever. So, really? You know, and then that goes back to what you said. Kathleen Kennedy wasn't there when Mark Hamill got his star, which is great. You're the head of the Star Wars division, not there for one of your biggest stars when he gets his Hollywood star. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm thinking that they're going the safe route. I mean, I'm happy he got it, you know, but they went and got J.J. Abrams is doing the last movie. Favreau's doing the show. So yeah, they're going for a sure thing, in my opinion. You know, I mean, I think it's going to be great. You know, nobody has any idea of what time period or what characters or whatever. Somebody dropped it out there that it might be Vader's mission of wiping out all remaining Jedi, which would be very outstanding for me.
Oh, oh man, yeah.
We might as well call this TV porn for me. You see, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Will they go that route? Who knows?
What would you like to see? What timeline would you like to see it in happen?
Again, time. Well, we've never had one really between A New Hope and Jedi. I mean, the Empire. I think that would be great. Again, I still really want to see the Outer Rim stuff. You know what I mean? Like you said, the Jabba and the bounty hunters and the smugglers, and I mean, we're gonna see that in Solo. But that's one aspect of Star Wars I think that we have missed throughout the whole journey. You know what I mean? And I think if done right, that could be very compelling. You know, be it movie, TV show. I mean, that'd make a great TV show. I mean, think about it. Smugglers got to make the Kessel Run and avoid the Empire, and if you don't, Jabba's gonna get you, or you know. So
yeah, that's
a very high pressure show. You know what I mean?
Space pirates and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, smugglers and bounty hunters. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
That doesn't always have to be about the Force, you know. But I think that would make for great entertainment. You know, in my opinion. You know, but and he'd be just the type to do it and to bring it to life, you know. So that's what I think.
How about Jar Jar Binks TV show?
Yes, the pilot episode would be the end of that one, Jack. Jar Jar in his final days begging on the streets. Oh man, I'm sorry.
I just had to
George,
put it out there. Sorry.
No, it's cool, but yeah, we'll see with that. We'll see what happens. We just stick to the news, but I think I'm optimistic. Not even cautiously optimistic because I'm a Favreau fan too. And what's messed up? I didn't even know that was him in the movie until one day I saw the credit. I was like, wait a minute,
which one?
God is the director. I never knew that.
Wait, The Bodyguard? You mean for Iron Man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I never knew it until like the third movie.
Oh really?
I never knew it.
Yeah. Well, he did the he's a good director, man. And
he is.
He did
who he was, like for real.
He did.
I'm
sorry, Chris.
Cowboys and Aliens. You did Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh yeah, well that's a movie that we. Do you like that movie?
I do like it. Not a lot of people do. I think he did a really good job. That's Jedi Chris and his craving of sci-fi movies. There you go.
Yeah, no, I watched it, but I don't understand what the backlash was with that movie. It was an awesome movie. I'm a big fan of his. Love Swingers. He did Chef. I don't know if you guys watched Chef. That's a good movie. And he also did Jungle Book. And the live action Jungle Book. Yeah, that was good too. So yeah, he's that TV show is in good hands. That's all I have to say, man. It's in good hands.
See, I was worried about Last Jedi because when they said the guy that did Looper, I thought Looper sucked. So I was like, oh, okay. Remain optimistic here, but yeah, I didn't like Looper, so I was like, okay.
Looper is one of those. Yeah, it was a very complicated film. I think you have to watch it more than once, but I wouldn't say it's like the best sci-fi movie I ever watched. To me, the guy who did Blade Runner 2049, they need to give him a Star Wars movie, hands down. Whoever did the cinematography, in that movie needs to be hired for any Star Wars movie because that was amazing. That was I don't know. That was amazing. Roger Deakins, I think that's what his name was, but yeah, he needs to be hired for a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was very visually beautiful movie.
Yeah. And guess who they beat out? Star Wars Last Jedi.
Oh, for the Academy Award?
Yeah. It beat out Last Jedi, I don't think Last Jedi brought in any, and usually them that's winning because of the visual effects, but they didn't come home with any awards that night. So,
well,
yes, seem to be a lot more of the newer folks, or up and coming, seem to be basically still in the spotlight, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah,
definitely. I have to agree with Paradox. I think that director did a good job with the sequel to Blade Runner, another favorite of mine. Let's give him a Star Wars show and see what happens.
Yeah, right. Oh, I would love to see how it will look, and visually, and just the story itself. So, and it was the same director of The Arrival. So, yeah, that one, hands down, should be.
Was that was the one with Forrest Whitaker?
The Arrival? Yeah. That was
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Was that good? That was good?
Yeah, it was a good movie. I loved it. Yeah, it was good. And he directed Sicario, which is an amazing. That was a
great movie. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Sign him up.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that
At
was
this point I'll try anything. So,
yeah.
Well, now this topic going to take a good amount of time because we got a lot to cover with this. The series finale of Rebels came on Monday.
Yeah.
And I won't say what I got to say now, but
well, spoiler for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, spoil. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, just turn this off, go watch it, and then come back and listen to our opinion later on because we're gonna get into it. You know what I mean? But anybody volunteering to go first? Because
actually, Thor, do you want to? I think because we were off for a couple of weeks. Do you want to go like episode?
Cover it all.
Yeah.
Last four episodes. That
Yeah.
and the last one was an hour long. So
Yeah, we got some.
anybody
some
want to
time.
go? Just go for it.
What?
Do
I think episode 12 is what. I'm sorry.
I would say, what an emotional roller coaster, man! Holy
Oh,
moly!
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, yep, y'all, a little tear in the eye, all the way to the very episode. It gave you hope. It was invigorating. I don't want to go in too deep. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and then let me just kind of, if it's okay with you guys, I'll just kind of piece my 2 cents in as we go.
No, that's cool.
I watched it all twice. I had to.
Nice. I'll go first. I think where we left off last time was I think we just finished episode 11, so we didn't talk about episode 12, which was I think wolves and a door, right?
We haven't talked. No, we didn't talk about Kanan. Anything?
Kanan?
Yeah, we didn't talk about the part with Kanan. That was before that one. The last 4 episodes we haven't talked anything about. So starting with Kanan, that's where we got to go.
Kanan's
Kanan dying. Kanan.
Oh no, we did talk about it last time.
Did we? I don't think Oh, we did. Oh, okay. I'm retarded.
Yeah.
Don't worry about
that. The one we didn't talk about is when they were going to the Jedi temple.
Okay.
That's where we left off.
Okay.
And I think that was I think what was the name of that episode again? It was Wolves in the Door.
I believe so. Yeah.
And this is, I think, in this episode we were talking about. The whole episode was about the crew reaching a Jedi temple, and there was already Imperials that were, trying to like unlock the door, and I'm sure Jedi Chris will help me out with the information about the father, the son, and the daughter. Is that correct, Jedi Chris?
That is correct. Those are the what do I call them? The Force gods, or the Force beings from the Mortis monolith. So you had the son that was that represented the Sith. You had the daughter that represented the light side of the Force, and then you had the father that brought balance to them both, basically. So they're in a couple of different storylines. So they're in the legend book, Star Wars Crucible, when Luke and his son Ben were trying to find the Mortis monolith. You saw it in the Clone Wars, where Obi-Wan and Anakin find it, and then all of a sudden now you see it here on the Jedi Temple in this outer rim world called Lothal. So I mean, that's just super awesome how they connected all those together.
Yeah. And then the crew was that whole episode was very action packed, and I was like at the edge of my seat, like because they went undercover, and they were trying to like go around and trying to like open. They were trying to open the door, like right in front of everybody, while everyone's kind of like scouting around. The stormtroopers were scouting around. And that was a very tense episode, and like piggybacking from what Jedi Chris and Thor mentioned, was that it was such a roller coaster ride, like especially with that episode, like you're like kind of like all over the place. It's like, oh my gosh, they get caught, or what's going on? Like, are they going to open the door? And you guys could help me out with like the whole scene where they were opening the door and how they were able to open the door and what everything represented.
Well, they had the rock. They had the hand motions that they needed. They just didn't understand. Once Sabine examined it, and you saw that the daughter had one hand motion, the father had one hand motion, and then the son had. And they all matched the ones that was on the tablet that she had. So they Ezra mimicked that and used it to open the gate, which were the Loth wolves showed him the way to the where the correct entrance way was. So once he got in there, that when he got inside the actual Mortis chamber, I had chills. So because if you listen in the background, you can hear people talking you can hear Yoda, you can hear Vader, you can hear Obi-Wan, and it's all throughout the whole Star Wars timeline. And even when I went back and watched it again, it was something that I missed. You can hear Kylo Ren in there too. You can hear him say, "I'll finish what you started." And I was like, geez, it gave me chills. The whole time they were in there, and the Yoda kept saying stuff. It was just incredible. And then when he got to the path to Ahsoka and they showed her and Vader dueling and he snatched her out, I was like, this is brilliant. I mean, because you never found out what happened to her. And now you found out why. Because to her, that was instantaneous with, it's like as if Ezra never left. Like he was just standing there, she pushed him through the door, then she turned around and he's pulling her through a gate. That was all instantaneous to her. That's why we never found out what happened to her. You know what I mean? So she survived, but for her, it hasn't been years. It's been a second or two. You know what I mean? That was brilliant. I mean, to me, this is by far one of my favorite episodes throughout the whole series. You know what I mean? It was great. And then the Emperor shows up and everything. And the guy told Sabine, he said, yeah, he's in there. The Emperor going to find him. You know what I mean? So he was trying to use Ezra to get inside the Mortis gate. And then basically he could just take over, shape time as he wanted it. He could probably get rid of Vader and get whatever apprentice he wanted. And it'd be all over for everybody pretty much if the Emperor got in there. So, that was a great episode. That was I mean, they were all magnificent. I mean, we'll get to the other one, but it's just, as I said in my video, I wish they could translate this stuff to movie form because it was magnificent. It really was.
Yeah.
JC, take over before I start crying.
Yeah, to hear Obi-Wan's voice when they're inside the space-time, what do you want to call that? The
space-time portal.
The porthole. Thank you, son.
Thanks, young Padawan.
So bottom line is, you hear Obi-Wan Kenobi and he's talking to Luke Skywalker. You hear that. And you're like, wow. I thought it was amazing. It is amazing. Thanks, buddy.
And then he
You have trained him well, Jedi Chris. You have trained him well.
Exploded into flames.
It exploded into flames. So the bottom line is, the fact that the Emperor wanted to get in there because he can mold time to his will. But again, he wasn't strong enough to do it. He had to be on the light side of the Force. So that tells you just how not powerful the dark side is because it doesn't open up certain doors, pun intended. So and then fast forward later, you see Ahsoka show up again. Now she's a mature woman, and then we'll hit that in a second. But the fact that they put that in there, the depth, I mean, it gave me goosebumps. It was
amazing.
It was basically like we talked about the roller coaster ride. That was the one where you're doing the fast spin and you're getting that adrenaline rush. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. So moving forward, then all of a sudden you've got the Rebel Alliance and you're thinking, oh my gosh, now more people are going to die and stuff. Like, who's going to go next? We're all trying to take, tabs on who do you think's going to go next and stuff. And pleasantly surprised how they ended the series, man. It was, I want you guys to add your feedback, but I was just like, oh my gosh. So when I saw it a second time, I was choked up. It was a very happy feeling, man. It really was.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Paradox. What do you guys think about the last two episodes?
Well, I was gonna just real quick. I know you guys mentioned the time space portal. I think that's something that was never done in Star Wars. And to introduce that to the series, to the franchise, is huge because it kind of opens up for Disney to kind of like pretty much do whatever they want now at this point with Star Wars. If they want to capture the new crowd, I mean, what happens because there's so much you could do with time travel, obviously, and to see Ezra open that portal, to see the Emperor trying to get into the portal and trying to like you saw him like with the fire and trying to use the Force to try and grab Ezra and maybe use him to open the portal. That scene alone was very tense because you're like, oh my gosh, is he gonna get him? To see Ahsoka being saved by Ezra, to hear all the different voices of all the Jedis, all the Siths, all the different Force users throughout the whole timeline, to hear the Darth Vader. It was such a like. I'm with Thor. That was like one of the best episodes in the whole entire series, and I gotta give you a round of applause, Dave Filoni. Seriously, you are a genius to be trained under Lucas to use that knowledge to incorporate everything to please us fans, and at the same time introduce us to something new like time travel. Is crazy. And to like with piggybacking off what Jedi Chris mentioned before, about like just Ahsoka and being alive and the whole. It's just I'm lost for words, but I'm just curious to see what Disney is gonna do with this, with the whole time travel thing. Are they gonna change, because it's a butterfly effect? If they change something, if someone goes back in time and changes something, that will ripple through the whole timeline and change everything. What happens if, I don't know, Luke decided not to go to go with Obi-Wan Kenobi, or just stayed in Tatooine, or things like that. Like, it's gonna be crazy to see what they do with this. But yeah, that's my thoughts. But it's a whole roller coaster ride. With the last 2 episodes, I'm gonna throw it back to you guys. But like the whole series, just hands down, is what I want from a Star Wars TV show or a movie. So Thor?
Me, thinking the Sith way, man, I got kind of selfish. I was like, dang, I wish they'd go in there and snatch Darth Maul out from Naboo when he was whole. no bionic parts, no nothing. I was there, yeah, bring him to present day and let's see how that work out. So yeah, but moving on to the new ones. Oh my God, it's just it was such an emotion, like you said, emotional roller coaster. Then at the end of that episode, you see the Loth Wolf out in the distance, and that's Kanan. And you know that he's gone permanent. I mean, it's just you just at the end of every episode, you felt something. You know what I mean? It was like, wow, and you felt finality, and it was just Dave Filoni, man, is incredible. But the episodes after that, when they're planning the assault on the dome and everything, it was Ezra had a plan, and he saw all the different avenues that could have happened, and but what I want to get to was when they bought him, when Thrawn bought him to the Emperor and everything, and what he attempted to do was he wanted to make sure he never became a Jedi. If he went back with his parents, then he would have never became a Jedi, because his parents would still be alive, and he wouldn't seek the path of the Jedi. You don't experience loss and all that kind of stuff. And the Emperor probably would have won on Lothal. But what I like most about that was you got to see the Imperial Guard and see them in action for once, and what those sticks can really do. You know what I mean? So that was, he hit us on so many levels. You know what I mean? And it was just great, man. Stuff we hadn't seen before, and hopefully we'll see again. But yeah, somebody go, because most of my stuff I got saved for the last episode. But anybody, it don't matter.
Oh no, yeah, Chris, you want to?
Oh yeah, but yeah, when the Imperial Guards came in, it took me right back to the comic book strips, the comic books of the Crimson Empire. So they came in. They didn't have the big robes on, so they had their combat stance, and they come in with these force pikes, and all of a sudden it's levitating, Ezra off the ground. You can see he's in pain. So I don't know if it's electrocuting him or what, but he's in like this twisted, being stretched and all that other stuff, and then of course the stormtroopers come in like a bunch of punks and start shooting at him. Like, hey, and that was after he destroyed that gateway or that temple that the Emperor was trying to get Ezra to step through. And again, that was a test. You know, how much do you miss your folks? And it was like he chose correctly. He chose to move forward as opposed to dwelling in the past, completely shutting down the Emperor's plan. And I just thought, you know, good on you, man. I thought you pull at the heartstrings. You so desperately want to be reunited with your lost parents, but you choose to move forward and honor them by not screwing up the timeline and doing what's right to end this conflict, you know, carrying his parents' legacy forward. I mean, what an honor to your folks who are part of that secret broadcasting, you know, trying to help out the early stages of the Rebel Alliance, you know, the little rebel cells trying to, you know, fight the system. So when we talked about emotional roller coaster, I mean, and Thor, you hit it. You felt something. You felt pride. You felt some loss. You felt some sadness. You felt peace. You felt hope. All those things. And it might, yeah, it's a show, but like it felt like you were living it. You were watching it. You were living it. Dave Filoni is just a master. I tell you, it was. Yeah. I don't want to talk about the end of the last one yet, so I'm going to stop now. Then Paradox or Thor, you know, let's you take over. I'm going to keep chattering.
Basically, you know, I think when we see Ezra, was it the second to the last episode where Ezra was kind of like meditating, and it was almost like he was like Kanan. Remember when Kanan was meditating and he kind of knew what to do, but you know, I have to say, like from the beginning of the series with Ezra to where he is, or at that point in time, at the episode of how he matured as a Jedi, and you see him like he's calm, he's collected, he's, you know, he has a plan. He kind of saw like the future and how things were going to play out, and he was very calm and with everything and how everything was executed. Like, you know, when he told that kid, what's his name to that kid that like was like, oh, Ezra told me to be in this ship. What's could you guys help me out with that guy's name?
That's Wedge, isn't it?
Was it Wedge?
Isn't that Wedge?
No, Wedge was and Hobie were liberated from the Imperial Flight Academy by.
Was that the guy from the Iron Brigade or whatever it was?
I'm trying to think of his name. It was like,
yeah, he was like the friend of Ezra in like Lothal, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, something I meant to go back and review.
Yeah,
but
I saw him, like I know he's a character, you know, in the storyline, and I'm trying, and he's obviously younger, but I'm like, where have I seen him before? I know him, and I haven't dug yet. So that's my next step. Figure him out, so.
You know, like how everything was played out with Hera is like, you know, like he took command of the whole plan, and how you know, he was like, trust me, Hera, you know, with everything and she, what caught me a little emotional when he looked at Sabine, is like, you got my back, right? I was like, what does that mean? And later on we find out what it meant. And I was like, wow, freaking amazing. Like, you know, like I just loved it. It was such a, I know we're diving close to the series finale. So, but that episode alone was a good setup for the series finale.
Yeah, it was.
So,
oh yeah.
And what I like how what the Emperor did was he tried to make himself look normal, you know, for him and everything. Because like when they first opened the door, I was like, who the hell is that? You know, I mean, he had all like white and everything. I was like, who the hell is he? I just say, okay, this is the Emperor. And they showed him, oh, what is that, man? And then he turned around like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. But what I like how they did was when he had destroyed the temple or whatever, it was sort of like flashing back and forth between what he really looks like in the hologram and everything. And finally, you know, he goes, destroy him. I was like, that's the guy I know. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So that was that whole. I mean, I know it was little thing, but just little details like that, it just makes it spectacular, man. It was just he didn't miss anything. He really didn't miss a thing, with this whole last 4 episodes, really the whole series, But we got to start on it sometime. So let's get to this last episode. Again, anybody want to start? Any because I got a whole lot of stuff I got to get to on this.
I'm gonna say 2
ahead.
words, and then Paradox. I want you just to steal the show. I'm gonna say 2 things.
Mhm.
Thrawn, and Ezra, and go.
Oh wow, yeah, that with the whole. I mean, granted that series season finale was an hour long. It was just like action packed from beginning to end.
It was.
It was like everything being played out. What caught me off guard was what got me a little emotional because I was watching with my kids was when what's that pig guy? The pig.
The Ugnaught.
Yeah, he got shot, man. I was like, oh no, and that scene alone was was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is no joke, man. This is like where things are getting serious. But yeah, the whole series from beginning to end was all action packed, and everything was like I said, like Ezra's plan was coming to play. Ezra was like, when that moment in time when he said, he turned to Sabine and was like, like got my back. We fast forward a little bit past later in the episode, we find out that Ezra was kind of like ready to like sacrifice himself, and Sabine got his back and was like, all right, like distracted the rest of the crew, because at that point in time the crew had like nowhere to run because they were being bombarded by the Star Destroyers, and like Thrawn's like what's his name, that Thrawn's bounty hunter or whatever, that guy that's like his seeker character that he sends out was still alive at that point still. Like I mean, the guy almost like died like 3-4 times, so he just doesn't die. Like it was able to destroy or bring down the shields, and the whole city was being bombarded by Thrawn. And Ezra knew what to do at that point, where he knew that he makes this decision, he was not coming back. And as much as Sabine wanted him to stay and help out with Hera's plan, she let him go and said, all right, do what you got to do. Let me distract the rest of the crew, which, we find out later that Ezra gets into the ship, gets caught, and, Thrawn brings him to the Emperor, like, piggybacking what Thor said. And at this point, what an amazing scene. We see the Emperor in his regular, like, before he was electrocuted and disfigured, and you see him, and from what I'm hearing, that's the actual actor who played
that's Ian McDermott. Yeah,
Ian McDermott.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And that was such an awesome thing to hear him again. And the whole scene where he's being tempted to the dark side, and I don't know how the Emperor was able to reflect himself as a not just a hologram.
That's all it was.
Oh yeah, but I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then like he's like, come on, like, don't you want to see your parents? Like, don't you want to go through his portal? I mean, not to open the door to this Jedi temple. And knowing the fact that if Ezra did that, he was able to go back into the world, like, and be able to change time and space, and be able to control, pretty much everything in the timeline and to whatever he wanted to do. And so that's why he was tempting Ezra to open the gate. But Ezra, said no. As much as he wanted to see his parents, And that was the whole thing from beginning of the show, where that's all he wanted was to see his parents. And there was some times where he let his emotions get the best of him to, you saw the anger and like, I just want to see my parents. And to see him now at that moment in time and say no to the Emperor and destroy the whole temple. And that scene alone was really awesome, because once he did that, then you see Palpatine turn into the Emperor, and you see the royal guards come in without the robes, and Emperor saying, destroy him. That was freaking awesome. That was so awesome. And to see the power of Ezra be able to take down the royal guards and everyone else. I mean, what a scene. But before I go on, I'll pass it to Thor. I know he's got some stuff to talk about, and I just don't want to keep on going because I could go on all day.
Well, here's one useless fact that probably nobody knows but me. My partner in crime, Rodney, and Ian McDermott have the same birthday. Anyhow,
Nice.
Yeah.
So we found out that one thing that everybody pretty much knew was that Rex, that old man in Return of the Jedi, are the same guy. That was Rex. So that was great. And then, but one thing that kind of pissed me off when it was at the end was they showed Ahsoka and she looked like she's Jedi Master mode. And I'm like, where was you through this whole thing? You know what I mean? Like they could have used her while they fighting the Empire, don't you think? And I mean, because this is supposed to be, that was at the end after Return of the Jedi. And if Ahsoka was so called out there, she just decided to do nothing. That I was like, that's messed up. I thought, but I was Thrawn. I love Thrawn. I love Thrawn to death. When Ezra was breaking, we got your dome and everything. All your troops are in here. Just stand there. He goes, "Are you quite finished?" I was like, "That's my man." I love Thrawn, man. But the fact of the matter is, so this is going forward. This is going to be after Return of the Jedi. So I think, Thrawn and Ezra is still out there. That means they could be still around for like Force Awakens type of situation, and that timeline. So I think they're setting up not just for this next cartoon series, but you could see Thrawn show up in the movies. You know what I mean? Because he's not dead. We know Ezra's not dead. So, and he told him, he said, whatever happens next to me happens to you as well. You know what I mean? So I think we definitely going to, I just wonder wherever they are, they're most likely together. You know what I mean? So how does that work out? You know what I mean? So I can't wait to see what this next series is going to, could we see the Yushan Vong or whatever, it's a lot of avenues they could go, but one question I want to ask y'all, because I know mine. What would you have liked to have seen in this whole series that didn't happen? What would you like to have seen? I know exactly what mine is, but I'll tell y'all when y'all answer.
What would I have liked?
I know.
To be honest, I mean, the series itself like touched upon pretty much everything I want. I mean, I would have loved to see Boba,
Of course,
Jabba.
Yeah, that.
I think that those characters weren't in the picture, but I mean, for a good reason. Obviously, it's just because they were more concentrated on Lothal and the liberating of Lothal.
But they talk about Mandalore a lot too. So I mean, Boba could have shown up then, and I was expecting him, but he never did. But but go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, I think they touched upon a lot of stuff. Like I as an overall series, like I left happy once the series was over, and there wasn't. I mean, maybe more Vader. Because he wasn't really a factor in after season 2. He wasn't on season 3. He wasn't season 4. I would love to see what happened. Like, I know he was injured, and when he was leaving the fight with Ahsoka, But I mean, we pretty much got everything that we wanted. Emperor, we got Vader, we got Thrawn, we have Maul. You know, it was a fantastic show, hands down. This is what Star Wars should be. Chris?
What about you, JC?
You know, honestly, what I liked again, because if you look at the old legend stuff, Thrawn kind of made his appearance after the Empire. You know, the Emperor was killed, so now brought him forward, and now he's somewhere in the future. So that means, okay, now they can maybe even kind of piece him back in the timeline he was in before. But obviously, the whole situation's changed. I would have liked to have seen because they had and the was it season 1, I believe it was. They had Lando Calrissian. I would have liked some of the original rebels from the Holy Trilogy. Having Princess Leia.
She was in it.
Lando Calrissian a lot older. Maybe tie it in because they move it all the way to the future. So the Battle of Endor was the pinnacle ship that destroyed the Empire completely. And then Ahsoka shows up, so she can take Sabine to go find Ezra. Maybe showing some of the folks, even Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Maybe embracing her hands and like basically blessing this quest of going find Ezra Bridger. So it added to the rebel strife against the Empire. Of course, opens up avenues for that new cartoon series, which the hints are, you're going to see a lot of that stuff of the Holy Trilogy all the way up to Episode 8. So I think it would just kind of give us some parallels, some consistency, and things like that. But again, Thor, you talked about Ahsoka, and honestly, because the galaxy is so big and there was stuff going on. Remember, they left her on that planet where originally she died, the Sith planet. So my thing
Malachor.
is maybe she was fighting battles elsewhere, and then all of a sudden, now that the Empire is gone, she's back like, hey, let's go find our friend, So now that they're not worried about fighting and tactics, now they have time to go search for their lost friends, So, like I said, it gave you hope. It's just like, oh my gosh, it was just, like I said, I watched it twice, and even my son was just amazed. And of course, he's got a mind like a sponge. So, yeah, I would have liked to sing a little bit more of the original Rebel folks that we grew up watching, back in the late 70s, early 80s. But would I really change what they did? No, I think it left it open for multiple possibilities. I mean, Dave Filoni, you're genius, you're the master. I'm looking forward to what your next avenue is.
We all are.
Yeah.
I got us once again thinking the Sith way. The only thing I would have liked to have seen, and when I saw Maul, I was like, oh God, please let it happen, would have been Vader versus Maul. That would have been, you could have just ended the whole thing after that. I mean, I'm glad they didn't. But man, I was praying, the way he went out, is the only way he could have gone out, with his old rival, Obi-Wan and everything. But man, selfishly, I was praying. And when he even said it, the one they call Vader, I don't think I can handle him by myself. And I was like, ooh, I hope they fight each other. I was hoping, because in the part from Clone Wars when him and his brother fought the Emperor, I've been longing for that like to see some Sith cross swords. I've been longing for that. I would have waited 30 lifetimes to see that. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm praying we get the Old Republic so we see more of that. You know what I mean? With the Game of Thrones guys and everything. But yeah, man, that would have been it for me. Otherwise, it was perfect. But if we could have seen Maul versus Vader, that would have just brought it home for me.
And I think Vader would have kicked his butt.
I mean, I know he probably would, especially at that point, But we're never gonna see them fight each other in both of their primes. But
yeah,
in Maul's prime, it might have been more of a it'd have been a contest, But
yeah,
there was a comic book, believe it or not, that touched on. And it was
I saw it. Yeah,
it was a clone Darth Maul.
Yeah,
and Darth Vader, even though beat up, not as bad as what Starkiller did to him in the video game and in the novels, but Darth Vader turns the hilt on himself.
Yeah,
and the blade goes through him and it kills Maul behind him, and he's like, "Why'd you do that?" He's like, "Because
I hate myself." Yeah,
he hates himself. Yeah, and I thought that is so bad.
Yeah,
so badass. I said it.
Yeah. But I just want to just kind of, what do you guys think? I just want to just really quick touch on some of the stuff that was happening at the end. I mean, what do you think, Thor? You want to go through some of the stuff like, like after the whole thing was done and Lothal was liberated and.
Well, yeah, I mean, I pretty much touched on, like I said, Ahsoka. I was, before JC broke it down, I was like, where was this chick when the whole battle with the Empire was going on? They've set up things for the future. I'm not sure if it's going to be Ahsoka and Sabine out there looking for him. Just, will that be the new series? And pretty much it's just where do we go from here? What's next on the, and when is it coming? I'm guessing it'll probably be. It might be like the same time slot as Rebels. It might be the end of the year, but I'm guessing it'll probably be next year when they come out with it. But
yeah,
pretty much broke it down.
I think that with everything happening at the end, how Ahsoka came back as like Gandalf the White or something. And that's what Dave Filoni actually considered Ahsoka as Gandalf the White. And like, just wanted to just kind of like go back what you said, Thor, about Ahsoka is like, yeah, what the hell was she doing?
Where was she at? Yeah.
Was she meditating? What was it? I know she's one of those characters after she left the Jedi's like back in the Clone Wars, like she just didn't want to do with anybody. I mean, she did help the rebels, and I don't know why she just didn't want to be part of it, but I'm sure we'll find out in a show later. But basically, when Ezra called those whales, those hyperspace whales, and kind of like took Thrawn and like they all hyperspaced out of there to somewhere, and from what I heard is going to the unknown regions.
Right.
I have a feeling
with Snoke.
Yeah, like yeah. I have a feeling that because I hope to see a show where Ahsoka and Sabine go to the unknown regions and kind of like look for Ezra, and this is pretty much, I think, after Return of the Jedi, this is where all the Imperials went to, was the unknown regions to kind of like get away from the rebels and the uprising, and they hid there. And like you said before, Thor, this is where Snoke is the unknown regions, and this is where I think it was in one of those Last Jedi books or something, where in the unknown regions, this is where the First Order was created. So I would love to see that whole timeline. Like I said before, when I mentioned, that's where I want what's his name, Jon Favreau, to take us with this live action TV show, is to check out the unknown regions, to see the First Order rise up, and are they like former Imperials? I want to see the backstory of Snoke. I want to see what happened to Ezra, what happened to Thrawn. I heard that Snoke was tempting Ezra to the dark side at that point. These are all theories that I hope comes to life, comes to fruition, and we get to see these in a TV show or an animated series. But we see Hera with a boy, and
yeah. I forgot all about that. Did we miss something with that? Did they sneak off somewhere and we ain't know about it? Because I thought they were just, I love you and I love and then she's, oh my God, why I didn't ever tell him how I felt. So where does child come from?
That's what I said. They never.
I was like,
they never kissed throughout the whole series.
Yeah, but thank you. I was like, how did this work?
And then they kiss, and then all of a sudden the kiss created a child.
Yeah, I guess so.
But
guys, I mean, you got Jason Sandula now,
Yeah.
So skilled pilot with probably some Force DNA, just throwing it out there.
Jedi, Chris, what'd you think of? I know you broke down the ending, but what'd you think about like how everyone was? We see Zeb with what's his name, Callus, right? And they brought him back. It was such a teary moment, man. Right? Like they were enemies, and
Well, yeah, because remember he used that forbidden weapon, and killed what he thought he killed most of the Lasats on Lasan, and find out that he decides to be true to himself, and he leaves the Empire and joins Rebel Alliance. And I'm sure he had a lot of guilt and regret, and that's why I think Zeb was basically like, hey, war is ugly. You make bad choices based off your leadership and all that stuff. So for him, they introduced him to the hidden planet, and they accepted him as one of their own. I just thought, how awesome is that?
Yeah, that was such a teary-eyed
one
moment.
hit me hard.
Yeah,
that one hit me hard. Okay? I mean, here's a guy that slaughtered. We're talking genocide, and all of a sudden realizing that he was wrong, and talking about healing old wounds, moving forward. I mean, like I said, that one hit me hard. The fact that this long love, hidden love story between Hera and Kanan, because it's kind of hinted in the novel, where they first meet and stuff, and then now they child together, and so his legacy lives on. That I thought was poetic and a beautiful way to end that. Now that the Rebel Alliance and all that stuff is ended, and now that it now you get this quest for Ezra. So I just where's this gonna go? Because if you remember Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, it left a lot of questions for me. So now I'm thinking, they can go and backfill all that stuff now. TV show, cartoon, you name it. They've got, like I said, open canvas to get very creative.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
Thor?
Well, I mean, the possibilities are endless, man. They left it open for us. Yeah, I was thinking about that child. I saw that. I was like, I know that's not Kanan's child. And they were like, yeah, this. I was like, okay. but yeah, it was just great, man. They the only thing I kind of just, like I said, Ahsoka, like, what was you doing? But other than that, it was fantastic. You know what I mean? But nothing else really more to say. Far from me, I got everything out that I had to. So been a great show, great week. Paradox, we're gonna have some guests here pretty soon, ain't we?
Yeah, I actually talked to one of my friends that has a collectible store. He's a big, huge Star Wars fan, and he's looking to come aboard and talk with us. Also have a bounty hunter, a very famous bounty hunter cosplayer. I'm just going to leave it at that. That's going to be coming on. We have some more guests that should be coming on the show.
That's what's up. So next time we will have another giveaway. Due to constraints today, we couldn't do it. But next show we will be giving away some more prizes. But from all of us to all of you, we hope you enjoy Rebels like we did and everything. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. May the Force be with all of you. Later.
Watching.
May the Force